Out of every 100 men, 10 should not even be there. 80 are just targets. 9 are real fighters, and we are lucky to have them. But that one is a warrior. This is the story about that warrior. Lessons that warrior has learned in his journey. And we're going to talk about it right now. So pay attention. Life is not fair and nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming to save you. And life is not fair. It's indifferent. It don't cares. If you were to die right now, sun still would rise. Nobody would give anything about your life or about your so-called. No matter what you think about yourself. You would just die and that's all. Maybe some people would be sad, but that's not amounts to nothing much. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody is here to be like, hey, improve, advance, be better, smarter, faster, richer. Yeah, let me help. No, nobody is coming for that. Nobody. The only person that truly cares for you is the person in the mirror. The person you will see in the mirror is the only person that will care for you. So have that in your mind. And don't stop when you are tired. Stop when you are done. Simple as that. And quote about David's mother. That woman lived in permanent state of denial. Basically, the father of David was like real actual devil. And this quote here that he mentions, the permanent state of denial. Where is the place in your life that you deny something? You live in denial. Pay attention to, because most people in some areas of their life live in state of denial. They refuse. Essentially, here's an entire picture, and you just pay attention to this one thing only. Okay, because you refuse to see whole picture, whole truth. So try to avoid that. It's very bad. In life, generally, you are either getting better or just moving backwards. There is no middle ground. There is no such thing as, oh, I am just as I used to be. No. You are either getting better, or you're getting worse. You're moving downwards. So have that in your mind. One of the most important things is to tell yourself the truth. The importance of telling yourself the truth cannot be measured, because you have to call yourself out. You have to be able to understand where are you right now so you can move forward. The only way you can find the way is to tell yourself trust, because you need to know exactly where are you right now. Where are you right now? And if you don't tell yourself the trust, you won't be able to understand where are you right now. So you won't be able to move forward in life. You will be just like her. You will just live in permanent state of denial. And understand this. Negativity you are feeling within is your internal desire for change. When you have no confidence, it becomes easy to value other people's opinions, and I was valuing everyone's opinion without considering the minds that generated them. When when you have no confidence, it genuinely becomes you have no faith in your skills, in your experiences. That's why you value other people's opinions. And here's the thing about it. When the moment you value other people's opinions, you don't pay attention to the mind that generated them. And here is where comes downside. Why is that? Because simply put, you just take everything without questioning things. Most people are very like sheep mindset mentality people. They will share the same opinion. They have same things. Some may tell you things out of envy, out of ignorance, out of stupidity, out of simply don't knowing what they're talking about, but they simply don't want to say that, oh, you know what, I have absolutely no idea. They will just tell you things because they don't want to. They live in state of denial toward themselves. And maybe your advancement in life brings shadow to their life. Maybe your advancement, maybe the way you live shows them how pathetically they live. So you have to always pay attention to mind that generated that ideas, because and I was valuing everyone's opinion without considering the minds that generated them. Because you don't pay attention, and not every person's opinion is worth anything. Most people, for example, only thing, for example, most old people have to show off their old age is their ear, nothing more. They're like, yeah, I'm 100 years old, that's all. Because they lived their life of, this downward spiral life. They were not like pushing themselves like this man, for example, doing these things and advancing themselves and challenging every their fears and etc. No, they were just moving downwards. Therefore, there is nothing much they can show off. The only thing they show off is their actual age. That's all. As soon as I made that connection, being upset with them was not worth my time, because I was going to kick their ass in life, and I had way too much to do. Each insult or dismissive gesture became more fuel for the engine revolving inside me. Yes, transform that thing as a fuel. And understand this he mentioned once that only with this thing, this one negativity, and you ignore whole other people. And what you are truly doing by that is to let that person that insulted you, that achieve his try, make that person obtain victory, and you are giving that person yourself, handing over that victory. You are letting that person win the war. How? Because you let that person's nonsense to get you. You let that person's nonsense to get you. You let that person's nonsense to hinder your life. Because you could have been doing positive things, constructive things that would help you, but now you are thinking about this thing and you are angry and it's a bullshit. Instead of thinking about this thing, letting that person win, this one, whoever, nobody, just move upward, do these things, and by that you will obtain victory. You will be overcome obstacles in life, and when you look backwards, you will be far away than that people that have that type of stupid mentality or mindset. They say there is always light at the end of the tunnel, but not once your eyes adjust to the darkness. So true, because you are focused toward darkness. How can you see the light where you just focus on that side is light, but I'm focused on that side. How am I supposed to find the into the tunnel? And I'm moving from this side, not there, not toward the light. Everything in life is a mind game. Always challenge yourself. Always be willing to advance in life. Always be willing to learn more. If you are already advancing in some area of your life, okay, sit down and learn completely new language. Sit down and read completely new books. Don't just settle. Don't just challenge yourself physically, mentally. Don't just settle. Keep challenging yourself and be willing to get back to level 0. Because when you start new language, you're at level 0. Where in one thing area you already are level 100 and you are already used to that thing that, oh, I'm level 100 in this thing. Be willing to be completely level 0 and advance in completely new area. This is how you challenge yourself. And this is how you give value to your life, meaning to your life, because you keep constantly challenging, because life is a struggle. You either advance or you move backwards. There is no middle ground. This is great thing. Like, feelings are just feelings. Struggles are just struggles. You see this, where this is coming from? Feelings are just feelings. You give everything value, no matter what it is. Like, you gave that feeling value that dragged you down, dragged your energy bar down, dragged your constructive thing that you could have used for this thing to drag you down. Like, feelings are just feelings. Understand this? That's all they are. Struggles are just struggles. Troubles are just troubles. Obstacles are just obstacles. Like, people are just people. David Goggins is just David Goggins. It's not David Goggins. Like, this one thing is mentioned all the time. Like, I'm not your hero. This story about you, book about you. Because stop putting people somewhere above, like, all these people, and worshipping them like demon religion. This is not the way. Like, everyone has the same 24 hours as you do. Everybody needs to use bathroom. Everybody needs to urinate. Everybody has to take this thing. These are all the basic things every human has in common. Just the only difference is their extraordinary achievements, which you can do too. if the desire you feel is a seed that you can actually do it, but it's not. It won't be easy. Nobody told you that it would be easy like this, and there is no shortcut. There is no shortcut. It's simple as that. Like people want to find out shortcuts. How to get in shape in 6 months. Listen, you never trained in your entire life, and you want to get shape in 6 months? Come on. It will be painful. Your muscles will hurt, your body will hurt, you will feel pain, you will need food, you will need sleep, you will suffer. But if you keep doing it for a long period of time, you will have that result you want. But it won't be over a day or months, it will take years. But the result will be there. Know why are you in the fight where you are in the fight. Everyone that you ever run, for example, a couple miles, you are, when you get tired, your thinking is not the same that it's in your comfortable space. You're like running, and you also start to question why I'm struggling, why I am pushing myself, why I'm doing it. And to answer that question on that moment becomes 1,000 times more difficult, because who wants to suffer? Nobody wants that. Ticket to victory often comes down to bringing your very best when you feel your worst. Powerful thing, have this in your mind. Because, ticket to victory often comes down to bringing your very best when you feel your worst. This is this quote about what we will discuss. I stopped seeing myself as the victim of bad circumstances and saw my life as the ultimate training ground instead. Does circumstances matter in life? What do you think? Hell yeah, it does. It really does. But are you going to let these circumstances define your entire life? Are you going to let temporary people, temporary situations, temporary defeats define your life? Entire life? That's the thing, that's the question that matters from that point on. Because yes, circumstances do matter. And does matter. But are you going to let it define your entire life? But because the way you grew up, man, like most people that grew up the way he did would just commit suicide at some point in their life, or just would lead to pathetic existence, because amount of emotional trauma and physical suffering you went through as a kid. You worked for his father like a slave. You would get beaten up, abused, tortured essentially. But he overcame it. He did, like, the way I hear that story. So like I saw a person that was bragging. Some people say about him that he's too attached to his story. But the way I saw his story is that here is the man that tells his story and he's bragging. He tells his story as look what I had to face through and what I am today. I should have been that thing, but look what I am today. So it's the bragging of a man that overcame impossible odds. Because that circumstance is no joke. Most people don't even go through half of that thing and crawl around and shy away and be like, oh, I read this emotional trauma, and they let that experience define their entire life. But that experience, in every single experience, you can find it. Nothing is completely bad. I know it from myself. I had 2 AK Kalashnikovs on my head when I was 7 years old. David was 8 when his own father put a gun on his forehead. Yeah, it's a very specific experience. But there's the thing. The question is, are you going to let that define your life? That's what the real question comes down to. Vast majority of us are just slaves of our own mind. And understand this: you are your own worst enemy. At the end of the day, you let that kid or people pull down your energy bar. You let that circumstances define you. You let it. You are ultimately the one that decides. You have to take that power back. This is in your hands. You can define these circumstances. Like David, for example, could have told this story as a tragedy and like weep and cry, like tears. Like, of course, it was a horrible thing to read his life and the things he had to his mother and his brother would go through every day. But at the same time, he did not told this story as a demon tragedy. You have to weep and cry. No, to me, this is where I saw it. To me, he said this story as a bragging. He said this story as look what I went through, And look what kind of the man I am today. I don't let these odds to define me. Victory doesn't always mean you came in first place. It can mean you finally overcame a lifelong fear or any other obstacle that made you surrender in the past. Again, he was moving towards fears. He overcame his fears. He moved towards struggle and pain and obstacles. Human body can withstand and accomplish a hell of a lot more than most of us think possible. And it is all begins and ends in the mind. And here is the question he found very fascinating. And I also found this question very fascinating. What are we capable of in life? I could not answer that question. But as I looked around the finish line that day and considered what I'd accomplished, it became clear that we are all leaving a lot of money on the table without realizing it. We habitually settle for less than our best. At work, in school, in our relationships, and on the playing field or race course. We settle as individuals and we teach our children to settle for less than their best. And all of that ripples out, merges and multiplies within our communities and societies as a whole. Such a fascinating observation. We habitually settle for less than our best at work, in school, in relationships, and on the playing field or race course. We settle as individuals and pay attention. We teach our children to settle for less than their best. And all of that ripples out, merges and multiplies within our communities and societies as a whole. Such a powerful, such a thing. This is a thing that you should have in your mind. Just have this thing in your mind and think about it. I mentioned that I have not stopped thinking about this since then. Such a fascinating thing, because this thing, it would take completely off-road to a deep philosophical conversation right now, so let's focus on this thing. Bottom line is that life is one big mind game. The only person you are playing against is yourself. And this mind game is this thing. One of the things, it's a very fascinating thing. I was confrontational. I created needless enemies along the way, and I believe that's what limited my access to top SEAL teams. He created needless enemies. He would call people out most likely. He would do unusual stuff. He would not hang around these people. He would be team member, but not the member of brotherhood. And he would call people out for their laziness, etc. Nobody wants to push people beyond their... but nobody wants someone to pushing them like that. So he made needless enemies. You should avoid making needless enemies. There is no necessary to do that, because as you can see, this limited him to access to top SEAL teams. He says, complacency kills you, man. And definition of this word is a feeling of smug or uncritical satisfaction with oneself or one's achievement. The after action report is humongously important thing. You have to be able to, when you fail or do something, you have to have an after action report. You have to be able to analyze what's going on, what happens. Because you have this situation, right? You've done this thing. Now sit down, take pen and paper and analyze every single thing. What the things you gained, what the things you've done, what's the thing you did, what the thing you could have done differently, what could have you paid attention to, what could you, this circumstance. Imagine you play this in your head and just write it, start writing down. Don't listen to anyone who is not trying what you are trying to do, or who is not putting effort you are putting. Don't listen to that type of people, because they are not people like you are. They are not trying to achieve what you are trying to achieve. There is no point to listen to that type of people's advice. Control your mindset. Dominate your thought process. This life is all mind game. Realize that. Own it. Buddha famously said that life is suffering. I am not a Buddhist, but I know what he meant, and so do you. To exist in this world, we must contend with humiliation, broken dreams, sadness and loss. That's just a nature. Each specific life comes with its own personal portion of pain. It comes for you. You cannot stop it, and you know it. In response, most of us are programmed to seek comfort as a way to numb it all out and cushion the blows. We carve out safe spaces. We consume media that confirms our beliefs. We take up hobbies aligned with our talents. We try to spend as little time as possible doing the tasks we fucking lost. And that makes us soft. We live a life defined by the limits we imagine and desire for ourselves because it's comfortable as hell in that box, not just for us but for our closest family and friends. The limits we create and accept becomes the lens through which they see us, through which they love and appreciate us. But for some, those limits start to feel like bondage, and we least expect it. Our imagination jumps those walls and hunts down dreams that in the immediate aftermath feels attainable. Because most dreams are, we are inspired to make change little by little, and it hurts, but breaking the shackles and stretching beyond our own perceived limits takes hard fucking work. Oftentimes physical work, and when you put yourself on the line, self-doubt and pain will greet you with a stringent combination that will buckle your knees. Most people who are merely inspired or motivated will quit at that point. And upon their return, their cells will feel that much smaller, their shackles even tighter. The few who remain outside their walls will encounter even more pain and much more doubt, courtesy of those who we thought were our biggest fans. When it was time for me to lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months, everyone I talked to told me that there was no way I could do it. Don't expect too much, they all said. Their weak ass dialogue only fed my own self-doubt. But it's not the external voice that will break you down. It's what you tell yourself that matters. And the last part is so important, the most important thing. But it's not the external voice that will break you down. It's what you tell yourself that matters. The most important conversations you'll ever have are ones you'll have with yourself. And again, I want to repeat this thing. The most important conversations are the ones that you will have with yourself. The conversations you will have with the person in the mirror. You wake up with them. You walk around with them. And you go bed with them. And eventually you act on them, whether they be good or bad. We live in a world with a lot of insecure, jealous people. Some of them are our best friends. They are blood relatives. Failure terrifies them, so does our success. This is such a powerful point because let's say you face an obstacle. You are in front of yourself right now. You have this conversation with yourself. You can be like, okay, I'll give up and turn around and just leave. Or be like, okay. The only question you should have in mind is, okay, should I go through? Should I go under it? Should I go above it? Or should I just, find some sort of way to just avoid and move and still get back to my track? This is the only thing you have to be contemplating. This is the conversation you will have with yourself. You should have with yourself. And understand this. We truly do live in this type of world. In a world with a lot of insecure and jealous people. Some of them are our best friends. They're blood relatives. Failure terrifies them. So does our success. And it's interesting, right? Our failure terrifies them, so does our success. Because what it means to them, your success means that you are changing. So to them right now, you become something new. And there will be tough decisions you have to make. You have to make in life. It doesn't mean that you have to hate someone. You will just have to put distance between you and the type of people in life. Isn't like you hate them. No, you are doing this for practical reasons. Because you don't want to deal with their hate and unfixed issues they have. It has nothing to do with you. I mean, this type of people, like, this will tough decision. This will maybe blood relatives, your blood relatives. You have to put the distance with your friends you had for a long time, but they're suddenly like, oh man, come on, let's just think. No, you have to make these tough decisions, and there is no. You will rather do it, or we will let other people's opinion kill you, because people you're surrounding yourself with matters. And this is the thing, he was surrounded by wolves. Essentially, he wasn't surrounded by your average Joes. He was surrounded by demon wolves, like the best of the best. It's very easy to be a big fish in a small pond. Try to be a big fish in a demon ocean. Try to do that. And for that, you have to be willing to do everything. You have to become insane, essentially. Insane in that sense that you are willing to do anything. You are not searching for a balance or something like that. No, there is no balance in it. There's one thing he mentions here, like, implies it. You can say, like, there is no balance. If you want to be and there cannot be a balance if you want to be a very specific thing. If you want to be an overachiever. If you want to be an overachiever, there is no balance. You will either go all in, or you will just won't make it. And it's up to you to make these tough decisions. Okay, guys. Okay, this is it. I've said our conversation is done. I hope you enjoyed this conversation, because I certainly did. This is type of this thing that I didn't record this thing just for you. I recorded this thing for myself as well. So if you enjoyed this conversation, hit the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe. See you.